Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another outstanding episode of the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I am Pastor John McLean, here with my good buddy and your good buddy, Ron Arenas with Picture Rock Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, keeping you cool.
Hello there. Keeping you cool all summer long.
All summer long. And this, as he told me before the show, this is actually their busiest month. So if you need services, call them now. Get in there quick, make an appointment.
Yeah, we'll get you on the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. But this would not be the Common Good Radio Show if I did not give thanks and grace to a very loving father who allows me to be a very loving father. Just had a baby just recently, so that's a big awesome. And I have my 16-year-old son Tristan here in studio with me. And as I mention regularly when I have Ron on the show, whether we're interviewing him or have him as a guest co-host, he's a very blessed man, a father that I look to as a model. So we're both very thankful to have, not only be fathers ourselves, but having a very loving father love and guide us and teach us how to love our own children and love those that are around us. And I want to thank that loving father with the Lord's Prayer, and it goes a little something like this. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. So that being said, we have a lady who I really appreciate and enjoy. Not only is she a nonprofit coach and her, a consultant to nonprofits, but she's my nonprofit coach and consultant to our nonprofit Veteran Rescue Mission and Home Community Services. So thank you, Jennifer, with Raise the Bar Consulting, for joining us.
Thanks, John. It's great to be here, and congratulations on your new Bambino.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I'm very blessed. Yeah, so I think the last time we had you on the show, we talked about kind of the different nonprofits and like the different considerations that people should have in creating a nonprofit and what is a nonprofit. This time, let's take a little bit deeper dive and let's talk about, the board of a nonprofit, which,
Yeah.
I don't think people really think about until they're in the minutia of running a nonprofit. But explain a little bit for, those who don't know, what are the responsibilities of a board of directors?
Sure. So if you're a nonprofit organization, you're governed by a board of directors, and the key word is governance. So the board is responsible for setting policy and procedures, for fiscal health of the organization. And fiscal health, of course, includes monitoring finances, developing investment strategies, monitoring investments, doing the tax, making sure the tax return and the audits are completed if you do an audit, and serve as leaders in fundraising.
Okay. So, and then
Lots of boards.
No,
Go ahead, John.
No, you. You're the professional, please.
Well, lots of times organizations, if they start as all volunteer groups or if they remain all volunteer groups, their board will be more operational. So you'll have people doing things that otherwise paid staff would do in a larger organization where their board is serving as governors.
So what exactly is the difference between a governance board and an operating board?
Yeah, so a governance board typically sets policies and is responsible for the finances. So the things I mentioned before, right? Setting policy, governing, and ensuring that the organization is financially sound and policy sound, if you will. With an operating board, they tend to happen at smaller organizations that are all volunteers. So let's say you'll have someone on the board that's doing the finances. You'll have someone on the board that's doing the programming. You'll have someone on the board who is doing the HR or coordinating the volunteers or running the fundraisers directly, as opposed to a group that is setting policy and, in essence, expecting that the executive is leading the operation. So I think that's the real big difference. And it's an important one because as people join boards, it's really easy for folks to think that because they had an experience on one board, that is how another board operates, and usually they couldn't be farther from the truth. So if you are someone who's invited to join a board, it would be really important to ask, is this an operating board or is this a governing board? And then really think about, where do you fit in there? Are you someone who actually wants to be in the weeds of the operations, or are you someone who wants to govern?
Yeah, I know this is something we spoke about a little bit when we first met, just about the governing and operating board, and just whether it's people, what they should consider in joining my board, and how I should structure it in finding those type of people, or even myself, being a member of the community that wants to help, things that I should consider in joining a board. So kind of just to give people kind of a broad overview out there that are considering of possibly joining the board of a nonprofit or getting involved with a nonprofit, what should they know about the organization before they join their board?
Great question. First, I would suggest they go to guidestar.org and look up the organization. Get a sense of how large the organization is, if they are financially sound, if they have employees, and that's a good start, because you want to know when you're getting on a board, is this a small organization, a large organization? Are we in the red? Are we doing well? What are they going to need me to do? So the next piece, of course, is asking that direct question of the board president. What are my obligations to the board? If you only have a couple hours a month to volunteer, that person's probably better suited to be on a governing board. If someone wants to volunteer a couple hours every day, then that person might be better suited to be on an operational board, or just serve as a volunteer in the trenches, with or without board involvement. Other questions to ask are things like, does a board have term limits? A lot of people in the industry now believe that if the answer is no, that's a red flag and something to really consider, right? How long is your commitment to the board? Is it a 2-year term, a 3-year term? And if so, are there multiple terms that are allowed? Ask the same thing about the board. Ask the same thing about the board officers, because you want to get a sense of how long has a person been board president. Does it rotate? And if so, does it rotate regularly? Lots of people feel like if a board president never rotates or doesn't rotate very frequently, that's not necessarily a good sign in terms of leadership. So, awesome. they're all things to consider.
Yeah.
The other question to ask is very simply.
Let me actually cut you off there, just because we have to wrap it up, and I want the listening audience that wants your assistance to know how they can get a hold of you.
To get a hold of me?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. They can go to raisethebarllc.com or give us a call at 520-982-5467.
Well, that's Jennifer with the Raise the Bar Consulting. Thank you so much for coming on the show with me.
All right, thanks,
with
John.
us, rather. Ron's over here. He's just quiet in the corner, but he's actually here.
And thanks, Ron.
Absolutely. Talk to you next time. This is
All
a
right,
Common Good
bye-bye.
Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain of Veteran Rescue Mission, here with Ron Arenas with Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, keeping you cool all summer long. We all want to thank them for their support of the show, along with Inspired Life Mortgage, Inspired Life Chiropractic, PEP Inc., Gap Ministries, Better Business Bureau of Southern Arizona, Seaton Photography, Eric's Art, the Marketing Corner, Action Print Coffee, and Veteran Rescue Mission Home Community Services. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain, here with my good buddy and yours, Ron Arenas, with Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, keeping you cool all summer long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, you don't even need to say anything anymore. You just,
I know.
You just
Yeah,
sit there, be handsome, and let me do the rest. Even though right now I got you blocked by this bag, so those that watch it on video are wondering where that voice is coming from.
Yeah, I'm way back here.
But me and my wife had a beautiful baby girl recently. So my good friends at the Better Business Bureau serving Southern Arizona brought in gifts. So thank you. And I guess I'll introduce my good friends from the Better Business Bureau, serving Southern Arizona. We got Irene Coppola and Denise Alvarez. thank you guys for joining once again.
And we also brought cookies.
I know.
I forgot to mention the cookies.
Yeah, those are probably going to be for my wife. So hopefully I'll get a couple. Yeah, for sure. So for those who live on a rock and they just crawled from underneath their rock today and never heard of the Better Business Bureau serving Southern Arizona, fill them in.
Of course, yes. So we've actually been around for 71 years. I think we've always mentioned that we look good for 71.
Yeah,
it's a
great.
moisturizer that we use. But
that's
yes.
what my wife says. Yeah.
But we're here to promote trust in the marketplace to help consumers find businesses that are trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, we also celebrate our accredited businesses with our Torch Awards that we've been talking for a few months about now. And we actually brought a guest.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the last time we had you guys on the show, you brought Regal
Fierce Media.
Fierce Media, and they were definitely an awesome guest. They brought like an entourage.
Yes,
so that was
they did.
Super
that was
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, but today, actually, you tell us who you have here in studio.
Of course, we have Felicia Robinson with Felicia's Best Personal Assisting. Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you.
The crowd goes wild. Yeah. Awesome. So welcome, Felicia. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. So tell us more about Felicia's Best Personal Assisting.
I know it's a bit of a mouthful.
Oh, yeah, that's fun
I'm
to
actually
say, though.
working on possibly coming up with a new name in the future. But we help busy people and the elderly keep on top of all their chaos. Anything that's going on, people traveling out of town need their homes looked after, busy professionals that aren't home during the day and just need things covered, run all the contractors, make sure the remodels are going well, to organizing. We have I've got 10 of us now, and we
awesome.
can come in and help people move in a day, in a couple days, get it all dialed in, ready to go. You show up, ta-da.
Yeah.
So that's who we are. We help people stay on top of it. We love working with small businesses because they are super busy people. And so we help strategize and come up with the best plan and order in the home if they're working from home or at their businesses. We go on site and help get things super organized. So we love it.
So for you, I mean, as I can imagine, one, it's a special thing that Better Business Bureau invited you to come join them here today. It must mean something special for you and your relationship with them. What does it mean to be nominated and win a Torch Award?
It was actually a huge honor. I had, when I started the business, I originally was with the Better Business Bureau, and it was going and everything was good. And then I was changing up, which platforms I was being shown on. And then I was like, I really want to be with the Better Business Bureau. There's something about having the seal on your website to show the integrity you have as a business owner, because you guys don't just take anybody, you've got to have your stuff together. And so I was excited to have that back. And then I got an email that we were nominated for the award, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And it wasn't based on, the outsiders voting in or anything. It was based on the integrity of the company. And, what it boiled down to was the Better Business Bureau and, their colleagues making those decisions. So it was a huge honor. I was actually on a plane to Australia on the awards night. We were going to visit my son. My mom was born and raised there, so we were catching up with family. And so as soon as I landed, I had all these messages coming through from all kinds of businesses. You got it, you won. So it was really exciting. Really, really exciting, and such an honor.
Nice.
That's great. So what's next for you?
Well, we have many, many things. I'm not one to be stagnant, so I'm always evolving. I actually just launched today my one-on-one coaching, which is huge, helping people stay on top of their lives.
Is it more personal coaching or business coaching?
It's business life coaching. It's like, where are my habits? What do I need to change? That whole concept. I'm also working on a directory on my website coming this fall. It's going to be a membership because so many people will reach out to us asking, who do we use? Who does Felicia and her team use? as a vetted business, when we're running all the things for everyone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm creating like a really cool feature on my website for that. We now have a newsletter. And in our newsletter, we actually showcase home maintenance tips and ideas. So like,
oh, wow.
hey,
Okay.
so have you had your filters changed on your air conditioner
Yeah.
or whatever,
It reminds me every single month.
right? And so I'm like, that way I can feature different businesses, tips, things like that. Of course, if there's an organizing tip or whatever, I love to share on there. Right now I delegate out to my team a lot. I take my own advice, and one of my girls is working on a marketing strategy for college students coming up this season. So like, they're all moving in. The parents need someone to look after their kids when they're out of state, like just all the chaos of all that, and knowing that there's a huge crew of moms here to look after their kids. So
Nice.
Wow.
yeah.
That's cool.
And they're
Yeah.
not really kids, they're adults.
Yeah.
They'll always be our
But
kids,
They'll be
though.
kids in
But
our
I
hearts
know.
forever. Yeah,
I know.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have my 16-year-old here, and I keep telling him, no matter how old he gets, he'll always be my baby. So,
Yep.
sorry,
That's
bud.
right.
Yeah, it's on record.
Yeah, my baby's
shook
a
his head at me.
17-year-old, 6'2" daughter.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I told her, you can still sit on my lap.
For sure. Yeah, I have a 15-year-old that's 6'2".
Yeah.
So I told him, yeah, no matter how tall you get,
Yep.
you'll never be as mean as me.
Can you look after my 30-year-old?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
For sure. I guess before we jump out of here, we're going to come back with the Better Business Bureau after this break to talk more with them. But Felicia, tell us how our listeners can get a hold of you and connect with you if they're interested in your services.
I've got a website, feliciasbest.com. And we're
Okay.
also on every single platform, all social medias, everything. So we're represented in everywhere.
FeliciasBest.com.
Yep.
And I guess one last pitch before we go, like what makes you guys unique and why should people give you a call today? I know, hot seat right there.
We get the chaos.
Okay.
We get it. We want people to live more with less chaos. So almost everyone on the team are moms and have other businesses and other careers and get what it's like shuffling all the things. And we have a very, very sweet spot in our hearts for the elderly community. So we've helped them a lot get settled and organized and moved. And single parents, that's another really hard challenge too. So we love to just put our heart out there and know that every day we're helping people.
Awesome. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Awesome. And this is the Common Good Radio Show brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. We'll have all that and more after the break. I'm Pastor John McClain here with my buddy Ron Arenas of Picture Rock Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. If you haven't been to veteranrescuemission.org, please check it out. You'll hear more about the show as well as all the amazing work we do helping homeless veterans, highlighting the good in the community. We also run a private practice for counseling for couples and families. So a lot of different ways you can plug in. Go to veteranrescuemission.org. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I am Pastor John McClain here with Ron Arenas with Picture Rock Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. As we've said, I don't know if you heard it, but he's keeping you cool all summer long.
That's right.
Yeah, and then during the winter, he keeps you warm.
Yeah.
So
Not me personally, but
Yeah, exactly. Your wife and the heating system. But in studio, we have some of my favorite guests. Definitely three powerhouse ladies, because we have Felicia's best personal assistant here still in studio, just hanging out. Not the baby in the corner. That's Ron Arenas right now. But nobody puts the baby in the corner, right, Felicia? But we have Denise Alvarez and Irene Coppola, two of my favorites, here to continue to tell us about the Better Business Bureau serving Southern Arizona. And I'm saying that way because if you want to look them up on Facebook, you put in the Better Business Bureau serving Southern Arizona, or you won't be able to tag them.
Correct. Yes.
But we were talking about with Felicia how she won the Torch Awards and how much that meant to her as a business, which I just imagine. I mean, no matter what industry you're in, what business you're doing, there's at least 100 other businesses that do what you do. So to be recognized in any capacity, nonetheless, to be recognized by an organization like you guys, it means a lot. It has to. Do you guys does that register with you guys what that really means for organizations like Felicia's and the different organizations that you partner with to give them an award like this?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they have our seal of approval already with the BBB accredited business sign. But yeah, this year we received over 200 nominations and applications. So, I mean, think about that, you're one of 200 that was submitted. And so, yeah, I mean, we can only imagine how important it is, and especially because we don't do the judging. We have a separate panel of judges that are community leaders that take a look. We don't even really look at the applications until after the fact. So
interesting. That's cool. And you have another event coming up. Tell us more about the Spark Leader Summit, or Leadership Summit, rather.
We are super excited. Can we have that word like be an echo? Super.
Super.
Right? Super excited about our new event. It will be an annual event held in the fall, and it is called the BBB Spark Leadership Summit.
Okay.
And this is going to be an all-day event. It's going to be held at the Casino del Sol on Wednesday, September 20th from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the purpose for the Leadership Summit is really, we at the BBB, we hired, we promoted from within during COVID. And we really ran into a challenging situation because we could not, after it was face-to-face, meetings and so forth, we could not find leadership training for our individual. Eyeball to eyeball, because that's different than when you're doing a webinar.
Right.
So we're just like, you know what? I think our ABs could very much be running into the same situation. We need to create a solution for this, and that's where this idea was born. It is going to be huge, and that word is in all caps, underlined and bold.
Okay, good. Even though it's on radio, so we can't really do that. But
imagine that. Imagine that. We have an all-star lineup of panelists. We also have a keynote that is coming in from Minneapolis. So yeah, this is a do not miss event for sure.
Nice.
Okay.
And what would you say are some of the objectives and goals of this event?
So we'll have some, like Irene mentioned, it's an all-day event. Obviously, leadership is something that comes with once you've been promoted into that position. But definitely we'll have these speakers talk about kicking fear in the face, right? It's a 4-letter word. It scares, you're scared sometimes and don't want to make that move or don't want to take that promotion because you haven't had the training. So they'll be talking about that. There's also talking about just mastering communications in the workplace, right? Having those uncomfortable conversations, giving people feedback. So there are tools that the employees, the managers, anyone who attends can take back and use them at work and in their personal life. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm actually, me and my wife right now, our book of the month is 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. And just in reading that, and I'm sure it's probably a lot of people are going to be picking up these same type of tips from your summit, is like, one, I never realized I was the type of leader that I am. And 2, I didn't even know there were levels of leadership. Like I didn't really know the difference between, okay, I got promoted and I'm in this position, I'm the manager now, and the difference between that and next level, second level of leadership, where I've actually built relationships with these people. These people want to do well because I have a relationship. And then the next level where I'm actually teaching them to be leaders and how to teach the next group of people. And then the next level where I'm teaching, where they have become leaders and I'm teaching them how to make other leaders. And it's just that excites me. So to know that you have a place that's going to like teach people those premises that somehow I just finally learned at 40 years of age is exciting.
Yeah, they'll be talking about like a 5-minute game changer about how to, communicate with your staff. There's going to be raffles. There's various ways that companies and their employees can get involved. We have tickets, sponsorships available, and expo booth. So we'll have an expo opportunity. So
that's where you're going to be there, huh?
Yeah.
I can see you, Ron. Ron's everywhere.
I'm writing Ron.
So is this open to members only, or is this open to the public?
To the public, it's actually open to Southern Arizona.
Okay.
That is
Nice.
our service area. We're expecting about 700 people.
Wow.
We have a limit for the booth. We have 46 booths left now. But yeah, so you can find more information on bbb.org. It's under the Spark Leadership Summit, and you can register. There is a early bird pricing for AB, so our members and non-members, and then after August 1st,
Okay.
it'll be the regular price.
And then your mixers, I regularly see pictures and all kind of cool, like, happenings around them.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
We're
before we jump
usually
out
there
here.
too.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. So yes, and John, you haven't been to one of our mixers. You have to come out. Yes.
I will eventually. It's just those evening ones are tricky.
Yes, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Mhm.
So our next mixer is July 27th at Playground.
Okay.
It's from 5 to 7. It's free for, it's not only accredited businesses, it's anyone who wants to come connect and network. So we'll be having a 360 camera there, appetizers. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right, Ron?
Yeah, they
They,
are.
they look like
They're
a
great.
great time.
They are.
really do.
They're very well
Yeah.
tended. They're very well organized. They're great.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay,
So-
I am going to catch it. I'm
Okay,
going to catch it.
all
As
right.
you can imagine, with a newborn baby and
Oh,
a whole
yes.
bunch of other ones, night times, usually family time. So
Yes,
it's a
absolutely.
bit tricky. Usually, the morning mixers though, I'm all there, but I'm going to be there.
Okay.
I promise.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I
All
promise.
right.
So bbb.org, check them out. Thank you once again, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain, here with my buddy Ron Arenas from Picture Rock Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, keeping you cool all summer long. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I am Pastor John McClain, here with your friend and neighbor, Ron Arenas, with Picture Rock Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. You know how long he's keeping you cool?
All summer long. Yeah.
So we have another friend of ours, one of the kind of the networking professionals. That's if you haven't seen her face around, you will now that I've said it. Kind of like when you buy a new car, you see that car everywhere. Her name is Kiki Rogers, and she is, I have it written down. She offers insurance for your home, auto, business, life, and health. She's been in Tucson with Country Financial Insurance in our community for 1 year, but recently opened a new office. Where is your office located, Kiki? And welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
My office is located on La Cholla, if you know where the Foothills Mall was, I would say, because it's
Yeah.
been
Yeah,
coming down
just
a
on
little
the
more.
just the
pieces
foundation
of it
now,
left,
right?
yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So we're right across from the Foothills Mall on La Cholla, between Ina and Mickey.
Okay.
That business park.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and so we're kind of between the north roundabout is where the stoplight is.
Right.
And so we are between the north and the south roundabout on that first row. So
Mhm.
very easy to find.
Yeah.
And you guys just had a ribbon cutting recently. Me and Ron were just talking about
Right.
that before you came in the studio. Tell us about that.
Yes, I am new to that office. I had started out at another location when I
Mhm.
first started with Country, but this office shares other agents, Chris Gerton, Larry, who just retired, and Kevin, and I don't want to botch his last name, but
Yeah, I
some
do that.
other
Yeah.
country agents are already established there. And so I joined in with them. And since I was a new member of Marana Chamber, they were so gracious and gave us a ribbon cutting ceremony
Right.
to
Mhm.
celebrate. And it was really fun.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned Marana Chamber, because actually I met with, I think it was Deborah with Marana Chamber just recently. And yeah, that's one of the chambers I need to join. I've heard nothing and seen nothing but good things. Their events are
It's
really
super
awesome as
strong.
well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're running your own business or looking to promote your business, a lot of people assume that the different chambers are regionally specific. So Marana, you have to be a Marana business owner, and that's not true. Anyone who does business that could affect the community or the residents of Marana can be a Marana
Right.
chamber member. And so Rebecca shared with me that about half of their members are not located in Marana.
Right.
Mhm.
But they service Marana residents, and so they're very active. They have a lot of monthly events and small round tables and lots of great resources. I've also really enjoyed visiting the Veiled Chambers, and I done one event with Oro Valley. So there's a lot of great options for networking and for building businesses in this area.
Yeah, I almost feel like we can have a whole segment just talking, giving people tips on networking. Because between the three of us,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, the networking is just building relationships. And when you build those relationships, then you have that community out there to help you with your business.
Exactly. Like, Ron, you and I've seen each other out and about, but more so, I run into Frank more often than I do my own children and husband.
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank is everywhere. I saw him this morning.
Yep.
He had already been at another event prior to that. He's out there representing Picture Rocks and doing a great job at it.
He does.
Yeah. I'm sure he has to do real work sometimes too.
Once in a while.
But he's very, very wonderful guy. And you got a great team. Everyone I've met has been really cool.
Great. Well, thank you.
And so, there are some real strong networkers just with Bree and the rest of your team included.
Yeah. So I mentioned kind of in the introduction, you've been here for a year.
Yes.
And it's
moved here 4th of July.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really? Interesting.
In the heat of the summer.
Beautiful. From Minnesota.
From Minnesota, of all places. I'll take the heat over 40 below wind chills in January where your nose hairs freeze closed. Yeah.
So there's a significant reason why you and your family moved away from Minnesota and essentially started a new life for yourselves here in Tucson. You mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. Thanks for asking. So it is really big, and it can be kind of awkward to talk about, but it's really about who I am and why I'm here and why I do what I do. So my family is myself and my husband, and we had been blessed with 2 children, Ian and Adam. And 4 years ago, August of 2019, Ian was 17 years old, our oldest, and he was involved in a bike accident with a car, and he lost his life that night. And so that occurred August of 19, then COVID started. And so after 2 years of isolation in our home and still waiting for him to walk in that door, we made that difficult decision to kind of start afresh and anew. So we moved away from Minnesota September of 2021, right after the 2-year anniversary. And then initially went to Laughlin, which is actually hotter than here because it's in the Mojave Desert. But we're there long enough to realize we wanted to continue to look around in the region. And not say anything bad about Laughlin. It has some nice things, and then there's Bullhead City. Bullhead City, not so much. But we kind of explored for a few months, visited Tucson one day, and it was a no-brainer. We knew this was home. And ever since, this last year feels like it's been a week some days and 10 years another day, because it just, so much has happened and so much growth as a family between myself and my husband and our youngest, who's now 17. And so he's still also grieving. But we've all come a very long way, and I feel like I'm doing what God's put me in Tucson to do. So I feel proud about that.
I mean, that's what it's all about. Both me and Ron were both fathers, obviously, and fathers of boys. I couldn't even imagine. Definitely when I heard your story, it breaks my heart every single time I hear it, because I got my oldest son here in studio with me, and the thought of losing him, I couldn't imagine. How did you get through that?
Well, the first year I would say we were just numb. Absolutely numb. From the moment I got the news, I was mom. I had to plan a funeral. I had no more birthdays to give my son, no more Christmases. I had that one event, all the things I'd been saving for his graduation party at the end of that year, I took out early for his funeral. And so I was just really in this, I have a job to do, and I have a child still here who's now really hurting as well that I have to take care of. And then the second year is when the emotions hit. And it was at that 1-year anniversary when I finally just went out in my patio and I just screamed, "Why, God, why?" And I cried, and I let him have it. And I told him how angry I was at him. And once I was able to surrender that over to God, that's when the healing really began. And that's when a lot of things started coming together, telling us that he was preparing us for that move that next year.
Interesting.
So my faith is everything to me.
Interesting. And so, and like in that process, losing a child, I know I've heard it kind of in your elevator pitch at the Arizona Sands Club, I think, where we met. What did you learn from an occupational standpoint from that experience that now helps you help those that may find themselves in that same situation, or at the worst want to prepare for it, God forbid?
Exactly. So as far as why I joined with Country Financial, my background was in insurance, but very heavily in a healthcare stance. I ran my own company in Minnesota that was an advocacy company for patients. So I did insurance consultation and healthcare navigation. So I have a real strong background in in insurance, and I also had my insurance license in Minnesota prior to, everything changing. And so it made natural sense for me to get back into the insurance world. But more importantly, see, we had our policies on our kids not because we were expecting lightning to strike. And that's not why I sell life insurance policies on kids. It's not because I expect lightning to strike your family, God forbid. I would never want that for anybody. It's there are benefits to that the then child, when they're an adult, can utilize that they might not qualify for if they end up having a medical condition anytime between childhood and when they try to apply for life insurance as an adult. So those are the reasons why we have those policies in place. But nonetheless, if I do help someone prepare for the worst, if I can come alongside them and they're going through it and I say, I know it sucks and it's hell, heck, sorry. And I don't know if I can say that on the radio.
Say whatever you want, other than, technically if you cuss, they'll just cut it out. But hell is definitely not a cuss word.
But it just is. I don't know. You lose your kid, they can't describe it any different than that. But I know I'm going to have him and my Savior on my side at one day, and then it'll all make sense to us. But until then, if I can come alongside someone else and say, we prepared for this, and you don't have to go through it alone. And you're going to come out on the other end. But because we prepared for this, you now can make choices for yourself, and you don't have someone else telling you how it's going to go.
Right.
And so that's where I feel God's really called me to just say, this is something I can help others go through, not only through support groups like Compassionate Friends that I've been a part of, but also just through giving up to others, paying it forward, and using whatever I need to for a career to do something that I know is aligned with my heart and what is important to me.
And what are the kind of the list of services you provide, and how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in those services?
Okay, so for Country Financial, we are across the board insurance company, everything from your home, auto, to commercial businesses, workers' comp insurance, and of course then health, disability, and life insurance.
Okay.
And the life and the health is the one that I specialize the most in, but I'm licensed in all of those areas, and we have some amazing products at Country. To get a hold of us, my office number is 520-848-5003. And we're, like I said, located on La Cholla between Ina and McGee. I'm there most days. You can stop in anytime if you like as well.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you, Kiki, so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. And I am really enjoying what you're doing here. And keep it up. I'm proud to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, this is Common Good Radio Show, brought to you by Veteran Rescue Mission. I'm Pastor John McClain, here with your buddy and mine, Ron Arenas of Picture Rock Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. What is the line?
Keeping you cool all summer long.